Hey again everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a book review for you, and that book review is on Love Like a Dog by Calcagno, and I'll start by reading the back of the book. Set in contemporary Chicago, it is the harrowing story of Dirk, a young motherless man desperate for his self-centered father's approval. A rescued pit bull alters their lives irrevocably, embroiling them in the terrible misuses in which the breed is prey. As Dirk's father grows increasingly entangled in criminal activity, Dirk must quickly come to terms with a series of legal and moral crises, and determine for himself what it truly means to be a man. I have to say a huge thank you to Anne for sending this to me, because I couldn't get a physical copy here in the UK, and she kindly sent it to me. And what first drew my attention with this book is the cover with this dog on, and it reminds me very much of my own dog. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this book is about, and I read the back and I said, oh, I have to read that. And I went to try and find it to buy it, and I couldn't, so I contacted the author and she said she'd send it to me. So I automatically love the cover because it obviously reminds me of my own dog, but how could anyone not think that? It's just such a sweet looking dog. So I wanted to read about this book, and the author Anne Calcagno, she has a bull breed herself, so she knows how they're portrayed, how they're seen, but also knows how they actually are, and how sometimes it's the wrong people that have these dogs. Now these dogs are staunchly loyal, they love to please their owners, so if their owners want them to fight, they do. It's not because it's natural in them to want to fight all the time, it's this need to please their owner. And I think the media just latch on to these dogs as vicious dogs. Now, I know people that have been attacked more by little like Jack Russell dogs, sometimes even poodles, and haven't been attacked by these dogs, but they just are branded as these horrible dogs. I take my dog out, people cross the road sometimes, or they give just what I call the look. They just say, oh, you've got one of those dogs, you know. And I was telling all of this to Anne, and she knew exactly where I was coming from, and she's a firm believer in punish the deed, not the breed. It's not the breed's fault, it's the people being allowed to have them and that let this continue. And that's basically what this book is all about. Dirk is only 7 when his father comes home with this little pit bull puppy. He found him in a dumpster, and they end up raising him, and they get into this thing called pulling, and these dogs compete because they can pull such large amounts, sometimes 20 times their own body weight. They get into these competitions where they have to pull weights, and that's all harmless. It's going great. The father and son are closer together because his mum left, and it's pulling the father and son closer together. They're training this dog together. It's all happy. And then as Dirk gradually grows up, his father gets pulled into the darker side of these dogs. Starts off very much as the great thing about these dogs, and then his father gets corrupted really by the bad side of it, whereas Dirk stays very much as knowing that these dogs are loyal, they're good dogs, they shouldn't be put through this. And he ends up having to go against his father, who, and you wrote his father so well. I really just wanted to kill him. I wanted to reach through the pages of these books and say, look, what are you doing? You're so wrong. You are in the wrong. Just because one book says do this doesn't mean you went against a top breeder. I just couldn't believe the arrogance and ignorance of that man. And it was so, in some places this book was hard to read because it obviously tackles a hard issue of dogfighting, and so some of the scenes are quite distressing to read, but at the same time I felt like I had to read it because this happens and she was exploring it, and I couldn't help but think of my own dog in that situation, so it was very moving. But Dirk is a great character. You can see how he's sort of pushed and pulled. When he's younger he has to do what his father says, but in the end he does the right thing and goes against him. She sent me the press release information about this book, which you can't see in this poor light. There we go. I'll just read it out to you. As it says on the sticker, it won first place in the category First Novel from the New Generation Indie Awards in May this year. It also won the bronze medal in the Great Lakes Regional Fiction category, again in May this year, and it also received an honourable mention in the General Fiction category at the San Francisco Book Festival. So this was a really great book, and for me it was 5 out of 5 because it was nice to read about a book about these bull breeds where the author wasn't condemning them. She knew how really great these dogs could be, and when I was reading about the dog's antics, I would stop and smile and think, yeah, my dog does that. Yeah, she does that. So it was just made a nice change from hearing in the media all the time about these awful, vicious dogs, when really they're not like that. And for me, this is a 5 out of 5 book because it was just so well written, and it made me really hate his father, which is always great if you can be moved to really hate someone. It proves how it's getting to you. And Dirk was a great character. I really felt for him, and you could feel how these dogs' sort of lives sort of changed and shaped his. And I would definitely say read this. I think everybody should read this. It's great for people with these dogs because they will know and understand by reading this, but also people that judge these dogs or are wary of them or don't know much about them should read this to gain greater understanding. And I think if they do that, these misunderstood dogs won't be misunderstood anymore. They will become understood, and it needs more authors like Anne to write these books and get that message out there. So that's my review on Love Like a Dog, and happy reading.